Very happy about it. I can see a lot of people here today. Thank you so much for your patience. And we're going to get started right away. Today is one of my favorite topics, which is identifying your career paths. And you might be thinking like, hey, why are we doing this or how is it important? Is that, see, I'll tell you a quick story and how many people try to get their first jobs in life is that they just get the first offer they take from campus. It can be any offer that you get. The first offer you get, you typically jump into it, right? But the beauty of trying to identify your career path and learning in the beginning is to be more deliberate about it. And today that's what we're going to do. Just going to check if you can hear me all right and everything is fine. Let's just launch this poll. I'm going to launch these kind of polls, keep them open for about 30 seconds and see if you guys are able to tell me like in terms of how it's going. That is one way of interaction. Thank you so much, everybody. That was, I'll tell you, the fastest timing that I've had ever. And awesome. And then see, you can also ask me questions in the questions box. All right. So please like use these through means in order to connect with us through the webinar. All right. So I'm going to tell you a story before we start. So why is important for you to identify your career path is because a career is going to be a long time in your life, but the first job is kind of something that determines your career, at least for the next 4 5 years. So in the first job you learn a lot of things, and today what we're going to do is we're going to show you how can you be more deliberate about the kind of jobs that you're getting. Okay, and then we're also going to tell you about how can career labs help you 6 months down the line when you're like sitting down for placements and other things as you're doing. In case you're wondering who I am, this is me with my short hair. I now have long hair. But yeah, I'm the co-founders at Career Labs and one of the alumni at University of Michigan. I had 2 degrees there and I have been able to help a lot of students. I do a lot of work for people who are going for higher studies, but I also do a lot of work for people in their careers. So example, people who want to do an MBA, who want to do a career change, and also help CEOs as an executive coach. So I'm very, very excited to be telling you guys in terms of how can you make for a better career, because as I told you, I work with college students like you, I work with CEOs, and I also work with everybody in between. So I can tell you about the different phases of someone's careers, and I really, really want to help you understand how to craft that career for yourself and how to identify your career path. Okay, so I just had to give you a couple quick things before we begin. I promise that it's going to be less than a second. These focus of the month sessions are designed in order to help you out. So in the first few months or the couple months, we talked about how can you, we talked more about profile building. So how can you like get better projects? How can you balance your academics and profile building? How can you like improve your skills, right? Then we looked at your CV because having your resume is super important for the job. We also looked at internships and extracurricular activities, which can be like bonus points, definitely for your resume. And today we're going to discuss about the career path. In case you missed all the previous sessions, do not worry. We have a very good the classroom, the Career Labs classroom. The portal, this is just the portal wherein you have a lot of information over there. So you're going to have content in various modules that tell you like what all you're supposed to do. We have the recordings. You have worksheets to download. All of it is in the same place so that you don't have to worry about looking at thousands of your emails for it. And we also have a lot of information on the current job that is there. And of course, a lot of bonus resources which will help you for your job application process. Okay, there are two ways to access it. One is through the servicing portal and others to directly through the portal. All right. And then, so when you click on, see, when you go to the servicing portal, you click on the courses, you will be able to see it. And then when you are clicking on the LMS way, you can go to the lms.thecareerlabs.com, go to your registered Google account, and then you will also be able to enter to the course. Okay, so today what we're going to discuss is we are talking about the identifying your career path, and then what are the career trajectories so that you can look at how to shape it. Because as I told you, the first job that you take is going to have an impact over the other jobs that you get in life. Okay, and then most importantly, we're going to do an exercise on decoding your job descriptions, and then how can you set your career goals, and then further. Okay, so today's session, we have a lot of things to think about, and we want to see what is a suitable career path for yourself. Okay, at least in the next 2 3 years after you graduate. How can you understand the career trajectory if you're going to take a particular job? How does it like work for you? And then we're going to look at the critical parameters in a job description, and then you can understand how to set your goals. So this is my hope that you will be able to do all of this at the end of today's session. Okay, so this is something that you will see in every webinar of ours, where we tell you that, hey, look, what is like, if you're going for a job, what are all the things that matter, right? Today we will see why are you even applying to the job. So we're going to look at the big why, which is a very important piece if you ask me. I always say if you don't know why, then you can't really like, look at many things. Okay, so all the other things will not matter. That's what I mean, right? So coming to this, the current timeline is this. See, we are focusing on profile building for you, where you're gaining all the skills through your advanced courses, etc., and all that, internships, projects, etc., etc. And then you are going to be automatically sitting for placements, either through your campus placements, through outside placements, or definitely through career labs placements. Okay, so I want to help you with that. So what can be the challenges that you have? So tell me, like, out of these things, what are the challenges you guys are facing? So these are three main challenges that people have. They say, you know what, I don't know what kind of job is out there. And someone says, I know the job, but I don't know what happens after the job, right? So that can be the thing. So for example, if I go join an Infosys, I don't know what's going to be the career path after that. If I go join a startup, I don't know how it looks like. And then of course another person says that I don't have the skill set at all for getting into my job. So which of these are your issues right now? So just quickly type in the questions box for me, please. Which are the challenges that you have with respect to your career goals right now? And of course, it can be something different than what I'm showing on screen as well. So when you're thinking about your first job, what is your question that you're having? So quickly type it in the question box. Okay, so one of them is saying that, hey, I don't know about the career path later. I have multiple options. Okay, and I don't have any skill set right now. So just now I'm just starting to build my profile. Yes, all these are very valid concerns. Yeah, excellent. So yeah, these are valid concerns that you're having, and we're going to be discussing about it shortly. Okay, now see, I'm going to do a very quick run by the division. All right. So, for example, I have taken the major departments and of course a few others. This is just to give you an idea of how to like look at things. It is like more like teaching you how to do it. Okay. So whenever you get a job, then you can do it yourself, right? So let's look at the most common jobs that are available out there for a computer science people. Obviously, software engineer, and you have to have certain skill set, a certain eligibility criteria. You will be asked to submit GPA, 10th 12th grades, etc. And sometimes they say that I need somebody who has had coding. They should be able to know Angular, or they should be able to know this and that and all that. So you will have a specific thing that is required. Okay, and there are going to be roles and responsibilities that they are supposed to do. Okay, and of course, when you look at it, like the future opportunities is what I'm telling you, that you have to consider whether you like it or not. So in the future they become a senior engineer, then they become a tech lead, and then go on and so on and so forth. So here the question is about looking at the technology stack, or the tech stack as we call it, and what you want. Okay, so to be very honest, there is mean, there is MERN, there is like a lot of things in between. You want to be a Python programmer, so you could be like just like getting into it, or you are going to do it in C and C++ and so on, right? So this is what we mean by the skill set. So for such roles, you definitely require a very high knowledge. It can't be just the basics that you're knowing. Okay, so especially if you're looking at some roles that pay you a lot of money, this is the kind of thing that will be needed. But whenever you're looking at a role, you have to understand that there is a corresponding path, and these are what we call as the future opportunities that are there. Okay, and as you can see, the nature of the job might be very different. A full stack developer will work both on the front end and the back end, and example is here. And then see, all of these things can be, it actually means similar things, right? So all of these guys are going to be they're developing software at the end of the day. But then the way that they develop and the kind of requirements and the eligibility criteria, all of it can be different depending on the company that you're going into. Okay, so this is what you have to understand. And then see, for example, here's a typical growth trajectory for somebody in the software domain. All right, so you have to understand that when you start young, you would be probably doing like only one aspect of it. Then you move towards being a specialist in one area. Then you move towards leading a team, helping them with your queries and all of it. And then finally, you are the person who decides what kind of software gets built, okay, and how it gets developed and so on. So that is an example, and that's what I mean by the trajectory. All right, now let's go to ECE, guys. You guys are not left behind. So ECE again has a very specific requirements in terms of skills. In fact, for example, we have given a lot of real world examples from the thing. You have an IoT engineer, a field engineer, a junior embedded systems engineer, etc., etc. So these are again components. You could be developing software, or this one, you could be doing maintenance testing. You could be doing inspection of material. You could be like building IoT solutions. So it doesn't really matter. Okay, again, look at this. You need obviously some kind of hardware programming, embedded C programming that you have to know. Then some microcontroller that is definitely needed. Then like some knowledge in RTOS or some other operating software which is there for that one, and then the soft skills that are needed. Okay, so like this, even this role has a certain trajectory that is required. So moving on to embedded systems engineer and the growth trajectory, this is how it kind of looks for somebody when they start with it. Okay, and I have to tell you that embedded systems engineers typically MTech only they take in many of the companies that I know, Qualcomm, Broadcom, and then you have Nvidia and things like that. So and places like that, right? They don't take too many BTech engineers, and that is where the skill set comes into play. All right, and that's where you might be starting at a lower level before you go. And if you're thinking about a VLSI engineer, this is an example of how it works for somebody. Example, this could very well be in Intel, so or Nvidia and other places. So this is how it looks like. Automation engineer is another thing. I should say that with the advent of AI tools and AI coding that is happening, this particular field is going to get disrupted a lot in the future. But right now, these are many things that are already available. And here's an example of other tools that can help you in order to grow. So for I know that for some people, no, I know you're not probably from the domain, but some other people, you might be looking at it and saying that, hey, this looks very hard for me. I don't know it right now, right? Well, the good news is that you are supposed to know the basics of things. All right. So for example, let us go back to our embedded systems engineer, right? You don't know VLSI or DSP or Autodesk to the level that a lead project engineer might know. But you are supposed to know the basics of how things can operate and how you can build upon it, etc., so that you will be in a position to learn later on what is needed. So when you guys are getting your first job, you're being tested for what I call is learning potential and your ability to learn the things that are needed. Okay, so because trust me that college as well as some of the other things that are in life will not help in teaching you what is needed for that particular role. Every particular role you need some kind of on the job training and skills training that are needed in order for you to get ready for that role. Okay, so it is very much possible that you don't know everything, but you should try to understand what are some of the tools and try to learn. See, for example, you don't have to learn all three of it, maybe, but you try to learn the basics of one thing at least. So that can help you towards pitching for the role, right? Now, see, what I'm showing you might be like little advanced roles here. Do not worry. What happens is, as I said, for example, if you're mechanical engineering, many times you start as a graduate engineering trainee. That means you start as a trainee, they train you in multiple things, and only then you can go into the other kind of roles that are available. Okay, and as you can see, so you can need a master's degree also sometimes and all that. So even for mechanical engineering, you would have a design role. It is possible for you to be a specific designer, example HVAC designer, etc. It is possible to be a generic person, just like a CAD engineer who keeps drawings, keep making drawings and modeling and analysis and things like that. Okay, so it is very much possible you don't know CATIA or you don't know SolidWorks, but you should know how does the modeling software work. So for example, if you know ProE or its thing, that is good enough to get started. All right. So when you're younger, the basics is what it matters. But this is how the different jobs get advertised and roles get advertised. Obviously, you start as a junior design engineer where your job will be to make the drawings, etc., and all that. Then you become a senior mechanical design engineer where you are the person leading the design and the product development and other things. And of course, engineering manager will have many other mechanical and junior design engineers under them. And then of course you can be a researcher as well later on, which is like a higher role, especially for certain other things. Okay, so there's a many possibilities that are there. So the big question now, so how do you want to decide on a job? All right. So many times you're going to decide based on, hey, this salary is going to be 3 lakhs or definitely 13 lakhs or whatever. No. So you decide a job based on that immediately after your college. Obviously, that will be your first intention, right? But what I tell you is please look at a lot of other factors. Okay. So you want to be very careful about how to choose it. And you are going to look at many considerations right now. Okay. So example would be obviously deciding whether you want to go for an MNC or a startup. Okay. Um, so MNC would be harder to get into. Startups are also harder to get into. It's not easy. But then there is a difference, because startup life is very different than an MNC life. Startups will encourage you to do a lot of things from the ground and by yourself, and then go ahead and so on, right? You also want to look at your targeted role and domain. Sorry, this is a domain. We meant domain here. See, when I say domain means what I mean is, example, I want to work for Amazon, and then that is a domain, right? E-commerce is a domain. I want to work for IT engineering services. I want to work for robotics company, like that. So you understand the domain in which it is, automotive sector, aerospace sector, and so on. Obviously you want more promotions and growth, that is there, and then you want to understand like whether it is possible for you to achieve your goals that you have for yourself when you are working in that particular domain. All right. Then the most important thing, which is very easy, is financial stability. And that is like basically how much are you going to make per month, how much do you want to make in 5 years from the line. Okay, where do you want to live in India or elsewhere, what is the cost of living. Okay, and then what are the perks that you'll get when you're joining it. So for example, startups will offer ESOPs or stock options to the employees if you do really well, and that's like a good thing for you to have later on. Okay, and then when it comes to personal goals, please note that you're all pretty young, and this is the time for you to definitely explore more of life and to establish yourself and to become adults literally, like, where you're living your own life, you're having your own apartment maybe, and you're like having a certain quality of life that you want for yourself, and so on. So this lays the foundation for it. So there are going to be certain kind of things that you want for yourself. That is what I like to think of as personal goals, okay, that you might be having. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions here. 1 minute before I ask you. Okay, tell me about this right now. Have you identified your future career goals? Okay, so future career goals can be as simple as saying that, you know what, my first job is going to be, I want to try for being a software engineer in in a certain company, or else I want to do UI UX, okay, or else I want to be a front end developer. So like that is what I mean. At least having some idea of where to go. Oh my God, look at this. So a lot of people are saying that you're confused about it. So today we have to like make sure that the confusion is going away, and you have tools to help you remove the confusion. All right. So anyway, so you can't just decide on a job based on some random things of saying that, hey, you know what, the salary is good, it is in Bangalore, I want to be in Bangalore, let me go. You have to really think about it a little bit long term also, and not just short term. Okay, so let's look at this. So this is one of the persons that we had, and see, this is how they moved in their career. So they started with as an IT analyst, then they became a functional project lead after, imagine how many years, right? So after 1 year 8 months they went to the functional lead role, and they were in that role for 2 years 7 months, and after that they became an IT project manager, and then again after 7 months they moved, and then moved to the different plant, I believe. Okay, so this is an example of somebody from IT domain who went to something else, and when you look at their grades, it's not so great. They are only having 6.97 on 10, and so on. Okay, and then see another person. So this is person who is from the electrical and electronics domain. So they had about 8.72 as yes CGPA. They did a summer internship at Schneider Electric, and then they were out of a job for 11 months. Then they joined HPCL. Do you know what they would have done in between? They would have either written the gate, or you have other exams to write, no, in order to get into these companies. So they would have done that in that 11 months break. Okay, and there they were working as officer retail automation for some time, and then they moved to another company where they were a control engineer, and later on they became a lead control engineer. So these are real people, real kind of data that we are giving you at this point. Okay, some of our clients from before, and other places, right? So, and look at another person from mechanical engineering domain. So what they did, they went into BPCL as a management trainee, then as an engineering executive, then as an assistant manager. Okay, and then so on and so forth. Okay, so typically you will see that many people will do some form of higher studies later. After you're in a job for some time, you would want to do higher studies. So that's why I told you I work with a lot of MBA aspirants who want to get into an MBA program after they have some work experience. All right, and you will see that many people, where some people change their jobs in between, some people are having this, and so on and so forth. So this is what I mean by a career path. And I know that when you guys are looking at your first job, you're probably not thinking about that aspect. All right, so that is where you have to start looking at, how do I decode a job description. See, we have two handouts for you. Now is a good time to look at the handouts. I know even on mobile you'll be able to download the handouts. Okay, so we have we have a one which tells us the roles handout, and then you have a sample job description handout. So I will open it in a bit, but I request you guys to download it and then keep it. Okay, see, whenever you're looking at a job, okay, your first job, look at the designation. So designation is the title: IT analyst, software engineer, graduate engineer trainee, etc. Look at what is the skills that are required for you in that job. I showed you, right? Like, what are the skills that are required in certain places? What is the pay scale? Definitely important. Your compensation is going to be important. But I have to tell you one thing, it is not the end of the world. If I tell you my first job ka salary, you all will be laughing. But long ago, so long ago, my first job salary was only around 12,000 something, and in hand I got even lesser, 12,000 rupees per month. That's it. Okay, and this I'm talking very very long time ago. Um, and it wasn't much, but to be very honest, like I was still able to like do a lot with it. In hindsight, I was able to do a lot with it. I had to tell you, but then I had to tell you that when I later on like went for other things and all, so in 5 years time and so on, I was earning about definitely much more than that. All right, so you really have to look at the pay scale, and then the on the job training that is going to happen for you. You have to understand how much of training is available to you. See, because otherwise you will not be successful in that role enough, right? Definitely the job location matters, where it is available, and then what is the opportunity for growth. See, you saw, right, in the previous actual trajectories I showed you, how soon people moved between the roles, how they grew, right? That is all matters. So we're going to look at a job description. I'm going to open this handout right now. So, and it's going to open up like this, and you can see that it's opening, and there it is. So here is an example of the technical job roles. This is actual job roles for which we are sending your seniors right now actually, and they say, right, they will tell you that let me see if my pen works here or no, maybe not. Ah, there it is. I can draw. Yeah, I can draw here. 1 minute. Okay, so I'm able to draw on this. So look at this. So you have a certain requirement in terms of SSC, HSC, BTech B scores, MTech scores, right? You have certain job descriptions which tell you like what you're supposed to do, and they tell you about the selection process. So this is the kind of thing they tell you about the pay scale, they tell you about the job description. I'm going to bring both things side by side so that you can see whether you are able to do things, right? So 1 minute, let me see if I can bring both side by side. Okay. Okay, so now you look at it. See, you guys can also watch it, right? Job designation, we know where is the job designation. So where is the job designation is, it's here, right? The job designation is going to be software engineer, graduate trainee developer, etc. All right. Now, do we know about the, okay, I'm just going to keep it like this. Do we know about the required job skills? Absolutely. We know that it requires strong knowledge of OOPS. You should be able to add improvements to this existing software. You should be able to design the software database, like work on the project, software products, blah, 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 etc. So we know that. Okay, do we know about the pay scale? Absolutely. The pay scale they have mentioned as 6 to 8 lakhs per annum. All right. Do we know about the on-the-job training? Yes or no, rather not. They just have not told us much about it here, right? So they don't tell us. So this is the reason why you might want to check the company. So you will not get that information in the job description. You have to do, so we are not showing you which company this is, but we can definitely, show it to you later if you need to. What you will do is you will go and research about the company, and that is how you understand the growth possibilities. Okay, I can 100% assure you that if you look at a certain company, 100% some of your seniors or your school friends or your college friends, okay, will be there in that company. Please note that there are not infinite companies available in the world, right? So you will definitely have access to somebody on LinkedIn especially, where you can go and find out what is a growth opportunity and the training that is happening in this job. Okay, and the job location, it will not be typically shown, but sometimes it is shown automatically. But see, many times they will tell you in the beginning itself. And today's world is, many of it is remote, etc., and all that, no. And so let's look at this. So the second one says that, hey, we want only this branch. So they're very targeted. They say that, hey, it's 4 to 5 lakhs. Definitely a Flutter they want all these things. So this is like more like a MERN stack, right? React, Node.js, etc., and all that. And then more of front end, right, over here. And then they say that this is what the selection criteria is and all that. Okay. So we have put down a little bit of things. And you might wonder, Kritika, why are you showing me only software development engineer roles? Because I hate to break it to you, there are many software development roles available in the market, despite all the things that you guys are seeing. When you guys are going to graduate, you will be in the middle of a recession. Sorry to say, but that's what is going to happen. That is why you have to have better skills in order to keep going. All right. So you have to be clear about the different types of roles that are possible. Core jobs are going to be less. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but core jobs are also there, and I'm going to show it to you 1 second. See, and so on and so forth. So here are some job descriptions. We just use this in order to do it. The other one is, you please look at this other handout, which is the job roles handout. So this is the one that we discuss right now. So this is for you to go back and then take an understanding. So here also you will see that we have given you what is the required skill, what is eligibility criteria, what are the roles and responsibilities, and what is the next possibility, and so on. So this one has for the entire one, and this is for your reference that you can take up. All right. So yes. So moving ahead, this is how you're going to decode a job description. All right. And again, thousands of jobs exist on the Indeed platform, LinkedIn platform, on the company website where you're going to apply. Definitely your campus placement people who are going to give it to you. And then of course, Career Labs. Career Labs will be sending many of these job descriptions to you as well. Okay. Another thing to understand is, please note that there might be an employment bond, okay, or what we call as contract, in terms of, they might say that, hey, you're going to be if you come and join us, there's a bond for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, blah blah blah, etc., etc. So there might be some other contract terms that are involved as part of your job. Okay. So I want you to do a quick exercise for yourself. So we saw the sample job description. Now, now the good news is you found the job description. Very nice. But how do you know whether it is suitable for you or not? Okay. All right. So that is what you will have to check. All right. So for example, this is like a sample job description where I'm Android developer example, right? And they're saying that so many things are involved. You can see it on the screen. So how do you know that this job is okay for you or not? Okay, because that's the main thing, no? The first question will be what we call as your interest. Are you interested in this job? Okay, whether you like it or not. Are you interested in like probably like Flutter or designing this kind of like system mobile applications? Okay, are you interested in this or all of it is for Android, etc.? Okay, is this something that interests you? Is the first question that you should be asking yourself. All right. And then of course, when you look at the job, you'll be looking at the title and then the job description. And then of course, what is the function? The location is already given. And then, what are you supposed to be doing? All right, as we discussed. So, and then see, some of them are going to be very, very long and they tell you exactly what they need. Example is here. The requirements. They say that they need hands-on experience for writing Android applications. They need 1+ years of development exposure. Now, so this job is obviously not for you. Okay, then you might say that, hey, why are you showing us this? Is because I wanted to tell you that in the first job, right? No one's going to ask you all the things that you want. They are going to be willing to teach you these things that they want. Okay, but you need to have, if you want to get into this kind of a role and they're coming to campus for this, you need to have a strong understanding of your fundamentals. Doesn't matter whichever field you are. Okay, so that's all matters, right? Okay, and then moving on to this, like the thing is that this is a kind of a document which you'll have on your this one as well. The point is that you can see that, hey, this is your profile and this is your preference, right? So these are the skills that you already know. Okay, and this is your experience and this is what you want, right? Now what you can do is you can consider the job option and then you can lay down what are the skills they want, what is the experience they're looking for, where it is there, etc., etc. So this is your preference and this is the, let me just put another color. Okay, let's go for blue. So this is the your preference and this side is the jobs. Okay, so you first list down your preference saying that, hey, I want a job in Delhi, I want 4 LPA only, or maybe this one, I want the job as to be full stack developer. All right, then you look at the options and then compare them. Okay, so the first option is saying that, hey, they want all these kind of job skills and see, you can see all these skills and then blah blah blah, etc. Okay, so then you start comparing and decide which is a suitable option for you. So this is a very, what you call it, as a more scientific approach to it. Okay, obviously someone will say, I want a 7 to 9 lakh per annum job, right? But the point is that they need a lot more things. Do you have all these skills with you? You only have HTML, CSS and JavaScript and jQuery. So how can you apply for this job, right? So this job might be like what we call as a reach, and this is not a good job for you. So this is definitely not a good job because you don't have 3 to 4 years of experience. So you will have better luck when you're applying to the job number 1. Okay, got it? So let me just erase all these awesomeness on the screen and let's start like with my this one here. So yeah, so what is a better job opportunity? This one is good, this one is not. Why? Because this doesn't satisfy your requirement. You only have 3 months in web development, but you are looking at a 3 or 4 year job. That may not happen. Okay, it may not happen unless you match the skill set. So matching skill set is very important. So which job matters is this one is the one that matches for you. All right, so like that you can actually cross check with your own profile in terms of what is the job that is relevant to you. Okay, and then get started. All right, so sometimes you might want to be a full stack developer, but based on the kind of skills that you have, you might first start as a front end developer, then learn all the back end and then move towards a full stack developer. Okay, so you have to understand that kind of a thing. And the same way, if you are a mechanical engineer, You might start as a GET, then only you become a design engineer. If you're an electricals and electronics engineer, you might start on a lower level and then only you go to a higher level. So that's common across any kind of things. Okay. All right. So I want to give you an example right now. Please pay attention. So this is one of our actual students who got in last year into these three companies and then finally decided to go for Legato. Okay. Where they're earning about 6.8 lakhs per annum right now. So when they came to us, the CGPA was good, of course, and after that it wasn't good. No, the reason is that they had a bad last year. They were like fully doing something else, so that was one of the things. But when they came to us in the very beginning, no advanced course, no research projects, no course projects, no internships. So they came like you guys. So they came in the third year, right? Third year beginning. Sorry, not third year. Yeah, third year beginning. Sorry, that's right. Third year beginning, they came to us, and then they signed up for this profile builder program that you also are having. And then we had other things that they worked on. So they took the full stack web development course. They had 3 projects that they did, and then they got one internship with somewhere else where they worked as a web developer intern for one project, and then this one. In addition to the Atria innovation, they got the accelerator innovation program, and they learned in addition to this which they had when they came to us, they learned all these other things in that 1 year. Okay, and that's how they got that role. Okay, and I want to tell you it is very much possible that your grades can come down a little, but please pay attention in the last couple semesters to your grades. That is your best chance to improve your grades ever. Okay, you can't improve your grades after you graduate from college, right? So this is one thing. So here's an example of a real person. Okay, so here's another person. So this person is an electrical and electronics engineer. Okay, and this person was very smart enough to understand that they wanted to see. By the way, this person, the previous case study I showed you, also got offers from other places. Okay, but they decided to go with this company. And then here, so yeah, so this person was better. They improved their CGPA in the last couple semesters, and they learned. So they also took up this front full stack development. They had done multiple course projects as part of their third year. They did research projects as part of their full stack development, as well as one more thing with their professors, and they learned new skills. Okay, so which really helped them to land the L&T wala role. Okay, now we have a lot of companies that come to career labs through which we get opportunities. So some of this is not even, I'm not even joking, this was a real case that happened, and we did have one person who got into it. So we have a lot of companies which offer 10 lakh plus salaries for you guys who are BTech pass outs. Okay, so this is for tech freshers and typical roles that exist. All right, I'm not pushing you towards tech alone. Please understand that core jobs also are like this, but core jobs are very limited and you have to be mindful of it right now itself. Okay, if you want to get into a core job, the competition is really high. And this competition, see, it used to happen even when I was all the way long time back in college, long ago. I'm not going to tell you how long. I'm not yet ready to reveal my age to you, but you all know that I've been around for long. So even then, mechanical, electrical engineering, civil engineering, chemical engineering, all of these other roles, the core jobs are very tough to get into. Okay, so that they will be limited. So you want to be having options later on for yourself. And see, these are all, like as I told you, new age startups that are there. Many of them are startups which are very good for you to consider as well. Okay, and this is like other companies, so Siemens and Nokia and all of them. Many of them, this is not again only for the tech jobs, but this is for other jobs as well that are there in their respective ones. So you have like other companies. And when you look at our own people, right? So we don't only send computer science people, we send every set of other engineers as well. But this is a kind of split that we have. And this split is not very different in terms of the domain, right? So when I say domain, a lot of the people at the end of it, they opt for computer science jobs, and then electronics jobs, and then mechanical jobs, and so on and so forth. So here's an example of the job roles that they have. Okay, a lot of the people start as programmer analysts. Okay, so we also have guys who start as tool design, graduate engineer trainees. As I told you, many people are there. Us in system software guys, as associate software developers, and we also have inside sales. So we have sales also. so which is a non-tech job. All right. So you have multiple options, but you have to really start thinking about it. By the way, this guy who got into data analyst, right? There were a couple people, I have to tell you, they were not from computer science background. All right. So it is very much possible, doesn't matter whichever branch you're from, to have multiple things over there, right? See, 1 minute before I ask you guys, can you tell me like which branch you all belong to quickly? Yeah, one of them is writing in the chat, sorry, the questions box. Yeah, that's where you answer. Okay, computer science is many people, triple E, some other people, mechanical, chemical. Okay, as expected, right? A lot of computer science, IT, and all, right? Very good. Okay, I'm gonna move on. See, guys, are you able to hear me? Is there a problem? Sorry. Like, if you can just raise your hands if you're able to hear me, please. Someone says that they can't hear me. Sorry. So just checking. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Looks like many of you are raising your hands, so you're okay to hear me. Okay, great. Excellent. So see, the CTC range also, I have to tell you, you have to pay attention to this, and I'm sure your college is also publishing this kind of data, right? That there are people who got much higher, and I would say the highest was if you can look at the numbers, the highest what is 4 LPA was the kind of the average, 19% of the people got that. Oops. But then, like, you also have other things. A lot of people got 8 LPA. Okay, and it was not uncommon to see, um, some other numbers too, right? There were a lot of people who got the 15 LPA mark as well, and so on and so forth. So you have to understand that it is along the range. The CTC range is going to be different for different companies. All right. And here's an example of some of the placements that we had last year, and the years before, right? This is last year. And yeah, so Mercedes-Benz will also take an embedded developer. So that is like more from EC kind of domain, data engineer, SE developer, data analyst, right? So these are real roles and real CTCs, okay, that you can expect from Career Labs in your 8th semester, okay, when it happens. These are all the many companies that we have which came in the last year, and we have got very good results from there. Okay, so now what are you supposed to do? All right, so what you have to understand is you have to identify a target role for yourself. See, now you can have a target role number A, B, C, etc. It doesn't matter. All right, have multiple roles for yourself. Identify what is your current skills and your experience. Okay, when I say skills, I'm talking about actual skills like learning C++, Java, JavaScript, etc. So that you can do through the courses that you have in your college, along with Career Labs courses and your certificates, right? That you have certifications that you're taking up with us. The experience you can get through the internships and the projects. So then what happens is you're trying to match these two. Okay, that's what you're trying to do. All right, fine. So what you have to understand is what you've done in the past is going to indicate what you have, or rather it will indicate your future potential. All right, people are hiring you for your potential when you're in your first job, because they don't know what you can do, right? You don't have too many skills at the time from college. Okay, and they want to you have to understand, if you want to be a software developer and you don't know ABC of software, then is it possible to become a software developer? Maybe not. So the first way to do it is you obviously have to get the skills for it. So you have to understand that, and that is where you have to put the effort. See, without putting the effort, without like working on your aptitude tests, your other things and all that, it is impossible to get in. Okay, see, I'm just going to quickly break for a couple questions I wanted to ask you guys. So very quickly, you just tell me, see, have you accessed the Career Labs, the LMS portal? So just give me 1 minute while I just check this. Excellent, everybody. Sorry. Yeah, I think most of you are able to access except for some of you, and we can just help you out for it. Okay. Tell me about, have you completed your starter pack courses by now? Because this is where we ask you to explore and then obviously start looking at your skill set. Okay. All right. So many of you are saying ongoing and some of you are saying no. See, now is a good time to close it. Okay. And then see, um, have you started working on your CV? Is it kind of done? If you remember, we just did have like a CV session for you last month, right? It is very important to know where you stand. Okay. As I said, unless you know your profile, no, you cannot decide whether it is easy for you or it is hard for you. Okay. All right. So tell me about, do you know the field you want to work with? And if you know the field, can you just share with me? I love to know that. Okay. Excellent, very good. A lot of you are saying I need help in figuring it out. Okay. All right. So these are the steps that you have to use in order to figure out. Okay. It is not easy to decide. Trust me, I work with people with 15 years of experience, 5 years of experience. Everyone still has the same problem. Always coming to me saying that what should I do now? What kind of career path should I take now? Right. So it is an ongoing thing, and that's why we're going to tell you how to select it and how to do it. And that is exactly the purpose of all these sessions, okay, that you're going to have as well. So a couple things you have to understand now is that you have to, I'm going to show you online, right, in terms of how to identify jobs and all. The thing you have to understand the most is that your profile and what you want is one thing, what you're eligible for might be another thing, and that's why your entire aim should be to build that profile towards what you want. Okay. Now see, tell me about, what kind of organization do you guys want to work with? MNC, by the way, is a multinational company. Fortune 500 would be specific multinational companies, right? I'm sure many people are not thinking Google and all anymore, but no, why not, right? Of course, yeah, there are layoffs and other things happening, but you guys don't have to worry too much about it. By the time that you guys graduate, things are going to be better, definitely. But right now, there'll be a lot of hiring freezes and other things that are happening from anywhere between now till August. But things will look up. Okay, so like this, one of the things that you have to understand is you should try for an internship. Okay, and this is for people who might have graduated. There are some of you who might have graduated in this today's session. Okay, all right. And another thing is that you have to also decide on where you want to work and so on. All right, excellent, very good. Nice to hear that. No one chose work from home, no? Very good. All right, cool. So yeah, this is a good time for you to tell me all the questions that you might have about your career paths. So immediately, what are you supposed to do now is to work on your profile. As simple as that. Start looking at your dream jobs. Do a search on the job descriptions. I am sure you know where your seniors work, and I know that where your jobs in your own college comes through, etc. Right? So look at that first. Okay, because all right, so I believe that some of the options that were given to you were incorrect here, so you can just tell us what is your most important part of your webinar today. See, what did you learn? So we talked about, you understood about career goals. You knew that career goals are going to keep changing for you. You learned how to decode the job description today and why it mattered. You also looked at, like, different growth trajectories that are possible for different fields, and you know how to, like, identify the growth trajectory now, right? So because you saw how it's done, you just have to research upon it. So for example, if you want to get into Amazon, and you don't know, right, the first thing is, like, you don't know how right now. The first thing is to look at what are kind of jobs that are available at Amazon. Okay, and then identify people who are in the jobs and then ask them about it. Okay, today's world of LinkedIn makes it super easy for you to do it. And in fact, one of the things that we'll be having is for that. And then, yeah, please let us know about it. And if you have any questions, we'll be very happy to answer any of it here. I know that for some of you, you might say that, here, I don't have any skills right now. This seems to be too early for me. But the thing is that the aim is that you really want to start planning ahead. So 3 4 months just go away just like that. Okay, so you want to really plan ahead and understand when that first job comes to you, how are you going to pick? All right, and I'll tell you also one thing. Yes, as a student, when you're coming in for the many jobs, you will be attending many interviews, and the aim for that is because so that you are learning more. And till the time that you get the job, you want to be better at it. You have to study for the technical interview and things like that. So you will be learning a lot in that angle. But you have to be very clear about the kind of jobs that you want. If you do that, then it becomes very easy, and your life will be more fulfilled and it will be more meaningful, and you're not just going to go and settle down in the very first job that you get. Okay, so that is one thing that you do. And one person says that, hey, there's a lot of competition, right? Trust me, guys, there's always a lot of competition. If you have 1,000 people in a classroom, in an engineering classroom, right? Sorry, in a college, right? All in a particular batch, I mean, for example, your batch. If there are 1,000 people in your college, all of them have to get placed. So it is indeed going to be tough, and you have to understand that the job situation out there is very different. There are many, many jobs in the world, but there are going to be only select jobs that you want to do and you're willing to do. Okay, so that is what you have to maximize on. At the end of the day, you want to maximize for where you're going to learn a lot. Obviously, like, are you going to be earning enough for yourself, and then does it have enough scope for growth? Okay, so that those are all critical parameters to look at when you're going. All right, so with that said, I really hope that you will start looking at these job descriptions and other things, and keep this in mind when you're doing. But meanwhile, what are you supposed to do? Keep working on those advanced courses as well as your starter pack courses, and then keep working on those things. Okay, so till I see you next time, I wish you all the very best and good luck.